this whole hamburger in my mouth?
All right, guys, let's get to why we're here, okay? For all of you who are watching right now, either one, you have been a fan the whole time, watching Starfinder from the beginning, and that's amazing. Thank you so much. Please let us know what you thought about the whole campaign. Or you are a new fan watching a wrap-up about a campaign that you didn't see anything of.
I never will.
And we're just talking and having fun, and you get to listen and reminisce about the memories that we had for this campaign. But either way, all that doesn't matter, because really this is just for this. Mostly this is for us, so that we can unwind about it and have some laughs and hopefully grow more as people. But anyway, welcome to the Fireside wrap-up of our Starfinder campaign. As always, we have Joey, who played Race for the campaign, the ace pilot extraordinaire. We also had the gunslinger and long heirloom mystery man Bell, played by Carter. We then had the memory wiped Winter Soldier mercenary for hire at one point, who knows, Shaylin, played by David. And of course, last but not least, we had the princess turned thief and didn't want to talk to her dead dad at all, Miala, played by
That's actually not true. We'll get into it.
I do like that. And then you had me, the illustrious GM, for the entire thing. Which, can any of you remember the amount of sessions that we did?
71.
I think it was like 72.
70. It was 70.
I was counting this one.
Never took a note.
Oh, you were counting this one.
I counted this one.
As the dust settles from the whirlwind of battles, betrayals, and the relentless chase across the stars, you found yourselves in a moment of quiet reflection. The universe, once so chaotic and full of peril, now seems to pause, if only for a breath, to acknowledge the monumental journey you've undertaken. Together, you face threats that would have broken lesser beings. From the treacherous jungles of Castrovel to the cold, unforgiving vacuum of space, your resolve has been tested again and again. And yet, through every trial, you've emerged stronger, bound not just by necessity, but by something far more enduring. Trust, camaraderie, and a shared purpose. Puccinini and Isabella's story, intertwined with your own, was never just about escaping the grip of the Mafia. It was about carving out a future where loyalty and hope could survive in a galaxy where darkness often reigns. You've seen the best and worst of sentient kind. Cruelty and greed, but also compassion and sacrifice. You've stared into the abyss of power struggles and come out the other side, not as pawns in someone else's game, but as players in your own right. The Bronchetti crime family, once a looming shadow over your lives, is now a remnant of the past. Dismantled and brought to justice, their power shattered. But with the victory comes the knowledge that the universe will always find new ways to test you. New alliances will form, new enemies will rise, and new challenges will demand the very best of you. But if this journey has proven anything, it's that you have the strength to meet whatever comes next. As the stars continue to dance outside the viewport, you're reminded that this was never just about winning or losing. It was about the choices you made, the lives you touched, the friendships you forged, and the legacy you've left behind. And as you look around at your crew, your friends, you realize that while the journey might not be over, the bonds you formed will last a lifetime. So, take this moment, reflect on what you've accomplished, and know that whatever path you choose from here, you'll always have this chapter to look back on. The story of your escape from the clutches of the Mafia, the battle against the Devourer cult, the pursuit of freedom and justice. This was your story, now etched in the stars. And as the ship hums softly beneath your feet, ready to take you to the next adventure, you know one thing is for certain. The galaxy is vast, and your story is far from over. We'll start with the first question here. What moment or moments from the campaign tend to stand out to you the most, and why?
In terms of like most fucking rowdy, and was the Bell Miala Buddy Cop episode where we went off and we killed the spies, but like Bell snapped someone's neck. And then I was like, wait, why are we snapping the necks? And he was like, just kill him! Kill him! And I was like, okay, I guess I'm killing them.
Yeah, I feel like we had our own like avatar. You know, remember the Avatar Last Airbender, where they like pair off Zuko?
Yeah.
With, like a character like each episode. I feel like we had a lot of like pairs moments in this campaign.
That's the guy you guys hunted down for that specific Buddy Cop episode.
But
Oh,
we
yes,
killed the
lizard.
clones too. They're clones or spies, or that was in the same breath.
Correct. That because you guys were being tested by the Bronchettis to hunt down somebody and be willing to kill them. And then you guys were like trying to turn them, like, we can be turned on the Bronchettis, man. Like, you know, you can help us. But then at the last point, there was just no turning back, and you're like, fuck it. And you snapped his neck, then found out he was a robot. And then the real guy came in, and he was all like, it was all a test, and you killed him. Good job.
I knew that.
I think we all got some good hero moments as individuals. Like, we all got some times to shine. I know Race in the finale, I felt like I, with no equipment, and trying to pull an NPC through a combat zone, had a nice little hero moment there at the end. I also had, you know, my outrun the cops moment through the asteroid field.
That was awesome.
That was cool.
So yeah, and I think we all got little fighting 3, so that Miala could get the kid out of the Presidium.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's 3? Show
So I
him.
think we all got moments like that where we were able to shine, and I think some of those stood out pretty good.
I was gonna say the whole driving thing when you were outrunning the cops. There was also very early on in the campaign when you did a job for the owners of the Click Clack Club. When I did that whole map where you guys did a drive through the city.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the heist.
And I
one?
threw the grenade into the car.
Yes.
My
yes.
sickest moment ever.
That was when you guys first met Stanley.
That's true.
Yeah.
May was like, let's kill him.
Yeah, it was when you guys first met Stanley.
Memorable moment was the whole fight with the fake bomb.
Yes.
That was, and just like seeing 3 for the first time and just being so low level that we just get the shit beat out of us. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a good time. It was crazy too because Bell was the only one in being a hostage. Like, he was one of the hostages, where the 3 of you were on the outside dealing with like the outside threat, while he was trying to take control of the inside threat.
The fight with the what was it, the Drake or the Dragon with those pylons?
Mhm.
That was cool.
Yes.
That was fucking cool.
We got those pylons pretty quick. Did that annoy you, Hunter?
No, I wanted you to because
No, we were
it was a
losing that
very-
fight. Don't
it was-
remember that fight?
Yeah,
do
we
you?
were we were
I-
losing.
fucking losing that fight until Hunter was like, "Look, a pylon is
Oh.
over here."
Yeah,
You should
roll
hit
me
it.
in, roll me
Like it's to the
perception.
point in the game tutorial where they're like, "Actually, if you hit this thing, it glows."
Yeah, I very much was like, this is a huge enemy. Like it will kill them if they do not figure out these.
You
pylons.
should have let
But I was
us
like-
just
I
get
was like, they'll
killed.
figure it out.
Everybody
Hunter.
says they want unique boss mechanics until they have to deal with it.
I think my favorite moments were just like it felt like some sessions were just like a regular show episode. Like where like so we started with like eating toast and like for
Yes.
breakfast. And then by the end of the day we're all like bleeding in the back of a car. Like
I very much
try
was
laughing.
watching-
I think that was my
Yesterday.
favorite. It's just there was a lot of chaos in this party.
How did your perception of the campaign's main plot change from the beginning to the end?
I think I didn't like at the beginning I thought we were gonna more or less try to find like a way that worked to break free from the Bronchettis. Like more or less like this is like an event that's coming. How do you deal with this? And like maybe you get to break free. We're gonna try to figure out how to escape together. You know, like try to like break away from them. Went along, I guess, because we were just sort of a mistrusting party.
So starting out, I really didn't know what to expect, even though I have the entire fucking modules after that. So I could have read ahead, but I didn't want to know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, so I really didn't know what it was going to be until we started bringing in like, oh, the Devourer, or the Cult of the Devourer, or whatever the fuck, and
Mhm.
then I was like, oh. Okay, so this might be the actual overarching thing that we're trying to do, but I feel that like the integration of our characters was really cool.
So I started this off very much being like, let's be Smokey and the Bandit in space.
Mhm. Yes.
You know, working with you to construct shipping codes, so that we could get real down into the nitty gritty of space trucking.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Somewhere
sure
along
that-
the way, we decided not to space truck and dungeon dive like D&D. So
Yeah, I'm
it was
showing
quite
up-
a obscure away from what I was expecting, with all the work we put in at the beginning.
Well, I mean, coming into this, I didn't have expectations. I've never played a TTRPG before in my entire fucking life, so I had no idea what it would be like, except for just, like, having fun with my friends. In terms of story, there's so much stuff that wasn't answered that I want to know, like, even since the very beginning.
Sure.
And I just want it wrapped up in a pretty little bow for me. And that's not gonna happen, so I'm dissatisfied.
Not gonna happen
Pretty
yet.
as I can.
But it leaves opportunities in the future for us to come back and do one-shots and stuff like that, so I'm excited for that.
Were there any unexpected twists that significantly impacted your experience or decisions?
I mean, definitely Lacey.
What you mean? Where you shot her point blank at
No,
the
no,
bar?
no,
That was a
no,
twist for me!
I feel like like my character has been played differently, a little differently since the first vault we went to, and we figured out that Lacey was alive and she betrayed me. Like
That's
I feel
fair.
like you can, if you look back, you can like see a stark, like kind of a more brutal turn to Belmore, like after that.
Millie turned out to be all right.
In the end, she turned out to be all right.
Really thought you were gonna stick the dagger in my back. So.
We knew Drake was the.
Oh yeah,
We did know Drake
we
was
knew
the
that
villain.
from
wasn't
the
it?
first fucking session. Session 1.
Literally, session 0. Actually,
Hold on. I very clearly
We
remember.
walked on the Manny station and we were like,
It's Drake.
we're gonna meet someone named Drake, and he's a fucking rat.
I definitely very specifically remember all of you not making the guess for Drake for a while.
No.
It was like, oh,
no,
it's-
no.
He walked in. I said, I don't trust that man.
It it's Isabella. It's that other guy we maybe met one time, and
We
It
were
wasn't
putting
so
all of
very
our
later.
options out, but we knew.
We knew. I think Drake was said more than any of those other options.
Yeah.
okay.
I actually think the Isabella Puccinini twist at the end was
Yeah,
pretty good.
You're farting.
that was really good.
Thank you.
Shaylin actually having a Winter Soldier code.
Yeah, so actually, Shaylin me actually having the Winter Soldier code, and then giving Race my self-destruct button, or like my kill switch,
Yeah, and that never had to come up again, so that was good.
right? Because
Um,
I knew Race would do what it would take.
Can any of you think of a choice your character made that had a major impact on the story? How do you feel about that choice now?
Asha Lacey.
I did that.
I did that.
So that definitely had a major impact on the story.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that choice now?
I got no regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets. No regrets.
I just feel, I mean, looking back and I just feel like my character was definitely like hitting the spot mentally where there was gonna be a break, and like the thing that made things break was right in front of him and taunting him and making him feel like he had no choice again, and so he wanted to have a choice.
So one big thing I have a question for you, Carter,
Oh.
as Belle.
Yeah.
This was someone you loved. You put everything into. And even to the point where you shot her, and why I'm asking if you maybe regretted a decision or not, is did Belle still have any sort of feeling for Lacey at all? Even though he had loved her with everything. You literally were about to leave planet with her.
Yeah.
And it's like, then she died in your arms. So you had that love for her.
yeah.
But then when you saw what she did, was there any part of Belle that said, I need to know why she did it, not I'm going to kill you?
No, I mean, I feel like the way they were raised, like impoverished and like sort of just like on a desolate planet, like fighting for their lives to get a foot up. Like he just bonded with this person so deeply, like, and like having that betrayal made him abhor her, basically. Like fully hate her. But like, and just want her dead. But like, after I shot Lacey in the bar and we saw Lacey again, Belle was less fully.
This bitch will die.
He wasn't fully like, this bitch, I want to kill her. Like, because I didn't shoot her when I could have on my 2 like retreat actions. I could have killed her and still gotten on the ship in a way. Like, so he was just still not making that choice at that point.
Well, yeah, that's a great question too. That's something to point out is you had that chance to kill her. So,
Right.
but you didn't. So was that still in your head of, I don't know if I can do it?
Right. Like after the shootout in the bar, definitely like he was starting to try to put pieces back together and get himself under control again since that break. And so he was just unsure about how he felt about like killing her after that because he saw what she tried to do. So he was having doubts, but he still wanted to have the choice to do it. And then he was deciding to like, I don't want to make this choice right now. It's not important to me right now. So we can just leave. And if she dies or if she gets imprisoned, maybe that's okay. Maybe she just gets imprisoned. Like, and that's enough for me now. But then like afterwards, when that choice got taken away from him again, it was just like, I wanted to have that option. 'Cause he was unsure
Is
how
it
to
okay
do
if I piggyback off this?
Sure, let's have a discussion. Let's do it.
Obviously, I guess if this campaign were to continue going, that would be my decision. Would be to save Lacey. Would alter the course of the party, the campaign, everything. And for me, my decision as Miala was first and foremost, like, she never felt like she belonged anywhere. She didn't feel like she belonged a princess. She didn't feel like she belonged until she found this ragtag group of people. And then, even then, like, nothing, it was always decided for her. Like, she had to be a princess. She had to do this. Like, same thing with Belle, where, like, all of the decisions were made for her. But this was, they had freedom. Like, this was it. The Bronchettis let them go. This was our first taste of freedom. And I didn't want to start our first act as free people condemning someone else, especially since Miala knew that Lacey was acting under duress. And Belle didn't know that and would not even give me a chance to speak when I was trying to say that. He was just so angry. But knowing that she didn't have a choice either made me want to save her. Not save her, like, from the police, like, we didn't take her on the ship with us, just from dying. So I dragged her back, and obviously hoping maybe she'd fix herself or get imprisoned. I didn't really care. I just didn't want her to die. So that was my thought process in that.
Is there any decision that you regret or would have made differently in hindsight? David's already got his hand raised. Go ahead.
I regret stabbing the reporter.
I don't
I
think you should
really-
regret that. That was so funny.
It really was. How did you don't roll a 1? Click.
1. I'm gonna be a little egotistical here. As far as characters' story arcs go, Race's arc was pretty perfect. No regrets.
Race got everything he wanted.
Sure did.
How did your character evolve throughout the campaign? Was there any significant turning points?
I mean, I think my evolution as my character heavily relied on my evolution as the player. Coming in completely blind and not knowing what to do and not knowing how to emulate a character like that. And I think about halfway through I started to find my rhythm, and that's when I felt more confident making decisions as a player and, like, entering that world and role-playing better.
I feel like your approach at the beginning, though, didn't hurt your character development. Like,
Yeah.
it sort of set
Yeah.
Miala up as, like, sort of aloof and don't fuck with me, don't bother me,
Yeah.
I think
go
that's
into my
good
bunk.
for a new player. Like you, if you start with something small and then, like, once you learn, like, what, like, the patterns are and, like, how to do things, you can, like, run with what your nervous self already sort of started.
Yeah.
But you didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah.
Do you believe there was any sort of turning point for you where either stuff started clicking or you were like, oh, yeah, this is how my character feels, or, you know, that kind of thing?
I think in the beginning, it was more me looking at it from the outside perspective. Like, I was thinking about it too much. But then when we started having, like, crazy sessions with the grenades and snapping those people's necks and just the out-of-pocket bullshit, I felt more comfortable playing in general, not just with you guys. And I felt more comfortable, like, becoming my character. And I think
Joey.
that
Oh, go ahead.
my character sheet rewrite helped a lot, but also, yeah, like, so much.
Oh,
But
yeah.
also I'm upset because I didn't use some stuff that I had changed.
I built Race as a rabbit because the whole theme was race runs, right?
Mhm.
So, like, at the start of the story, Race runs. By the end of the story, and I think I played that last session pretty well, like, Race really took charge at the end and, you know, wound up saving the whole crew.
By running.
I was ready to blast off to Dante's, but hey, you had a thing to do, and I respected it. I stayed behind. I didn't want Belle to have the guilt of blowing up the entire crew with the missile rack, so I shut that down, you know. But I think the evolution from the run rabbit run to being the actual captain of the crew was a fully realized arc, and I think I pulled it off okay.
So, also with this being my first like Starfinder playthrough, I at first built Shaylin to kind of be more like I think it's like a Sentinel from Mass Effect for that class,
Okay.
kind of like sneaky and magically adept, but the
You just ended
character
up being good at everything. So.
yeah, like be good at everything. But after kind of working more through the backstory and you putting more stuff in, I went more kind of like an infiltrator. Mostly because once I kind of got a feel for how I wanted to play Shaylin, then that is what he would be more to me. And also the evolution of him as a character, kind of starting out fresh and not knowing like who to trust other than at least the pilot, not so much the four-armed lady and maybe the elf. Kind of slowly building the more and more trust with Miala, even if it wasn't like direct things that she did. You know, maybe if it was just like, oh, I'm gonna shoot the guy that, you know, Shaylin's fighting, you know, or he would pick up on things like that. And then even though when she died, she still said I killed her father, Shaylin tried to save her.
I feel like Bell went through this time of like he was so willing to trust in the beginning, and everybody else was very closed off in the beginning and didn't believe each other and didn't want to trust each other. And then I feel like once the Lacey thing hit and it was still that way, I feel like Bell sort of felt like, I don't know, like he could just do it by himself. And like, yeah, he like cares about these people, but like they don't trust him, and he doesn't trust them either, like some of them. I don't know. Okay. So just like it felt like, you know, he kind of spiraled after that. Like there was still like that Bell with the group, but it just felt, I don't know.
Okay.
Like he just wanted Race to take charge and like be a captain and like rally us under a goal.
If you could sum up your character's core motivations driving their actions and decisions in one word, what would it be?
Reclaim.
I want to say remember.
Race had one goal when he was a snot-nosed kid back home on his fucking ash heap of a planet, and he carried that through the whole way, and that was to chase the horizon. So I would say Race's one word would be freedom.
Mine would be belong.
Looking back, how does Miala view the balance between her personal morals and the needs of the crew?
So I think in the beginning, I only cared about myself. And then I started to open up more. And then there's a very specific point in the campaign where Race and Bell were arguing. And Race was like, I don't remember the direct quote, but he was essentially like, do whatever the fuck you need to do. I'm just here so I can leave eventually. And he was insinuating that he was gonna leave on his own. And that was a pivotal point for me, the player. Like, that was an emotional point for me, Melia, because I was like, holy shit, like, this is really impactful. I think I know exactly how I want to play my character. So there was a point right in the college where we were dealing with that asshole brain, where Miala just completely shut down. She didn't talk to anyone. She didn't, because she had felt that she had grown so close to these people, and she started to feel like this was her family. She started to refer to the Radar Rider as home, and that there was an expiration date on that. Like, everyone's just gonna go their own ways, and maybe it wasn't as important as she had began to feel, and she also felt a little embarrassed about that. But moving forward from that, I played my character a little bit differently. My dog is all tangled in my wire.
How did Race's relationships with the rest of the crew evolve over the course of the campaign? And what challenges do you feel you face together with each of them?
at the beginning, outside of Shaylin, because Shaylin was a neutral party, but with Bell and Miala, with their connection to the Bronchides and how they were assigned to make sure I was getting work done, Race was extremely distrustful of the two of them, and didn't really want to open up to the two of them. But I think, like, as things went on, just the kind of person that he was, and like he would reach out in his own way to try to, like, hey, you should do this. Do you want to, I see you're up here in the cockpit. Do you want to try to fly this? And I think there was sort of an older brother quality. Like, I wouldn't say it was paternal because we butt heads too much. So that feels more like a sibling thing, but I would say it was more of like an older brother sort of. I'm still the captain of this boat. I'm gonna look out for these guys even if I don't like them. And I think through that, he sort of grew first to accept them and then appreciate them for who they were.
Was there any challenges that you helped each of them face, or that you faced together?
I feel like prodding Miala to sort of deal with the issues with her dad, and sort of, seeing the connection there of this kid that looked up to her, sort of reminded him of his siblings looking up to him. So trying to build that connection between Zoe and Miala. I feel like the relationship between Race and Shaylin built pretty quick, pretty naturally, because they were equal, sort of similar skill sets, so they could work on, things together. And
we didn't work on nearly enough that we should have.
it's true. But we were able to bond at that level around, like, oh, this is an engine and this is how it works, sort of thing. I still think even up to the end there was friction between Bell, because even though he came to respect Bell as a member of the crew, Bell always felt like a loose cannon that he was never quite sure he could count on. Sort of like Mal and Jane, I think, from Firefly.
Okay.
Where they definitely still, like, respect each other, but there's always friction there between the two of them.
So Shaylin, you were a born, bred, constructed killer. You apparently had 7 brothers and sisters that you didn't even know, but you did. How did this influence your interactions with the world? And actually, when you first met Five, how did this affect Shaylin?
So between the flashbacks, kind of finding out which ones may or may not have been nice to me or not, affected me if I would ever see them again. And then when I saw Five again, and I got the vision that he just didn't do anything. I wanted Shaylin to try to, be more standoffish to get closer, if that makes sense. But I feel that through what he has seen, especially with, like, Zoe and Miala, Race and Stanley, he wanted because he had the connection with the crew, but he wanted to have, like, an actual sibling connection. And as Shaylin, super happy when he took up Pib.
What does Shaylin envision for himself now that the crew is free from the Mafia's control? Now, obviously there's what happened at the end of the campaign, but thinking past that, what does Shaylin envision? He joined this crew literally from a whim because they picked you up in the middle of space. It's like, you just somewhat trusted the pilot, but it's like you've been through all this big adventure and there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. what does Shaylin envision going forward?
Shaylin envisions that
You know a lot more about your past now too.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
So Shaylin kind of envisions like he's very hopeful for the future with the crew. He envisions like lots of dangerous adventures, fun adventures. He really wants to infiltrate that vault with Miala, like bad.
Sure. We want to be bad guys.
Yeah. He envisions at least finding some more answers about his past.
Mhm.
But that may take time, But as long as he's with a good crew, time flies,
Bell faced many emotional challenges, especially towards the end.
Hunter
How-
always does this in the campaigns where he brain fucks me the entire campaign. Every campaign, Lolith, Harper, brain fucked.
Maybe he just knows how to get that crowbar onto the edge of the safe, man.
Bell faced many emotional challenges, especially towards the end. But something about Bell throughout the whole campaign, even with each emotional challenge, you still kept a sort of stoicness through it all. You never once, cried or broke down. You may have got angry or mad and did some tiffs with people, but there was never like a deep emotional cry moment. Do you feel that that's something that maybe could have benefited Bell, or why did Bell not feel the need to do something like that? I think you got close when you were sitting on the street alone smoking a cigarette after seeing Lacey, but
well, when your
tell me
heart
your
is a
thoughts.
black hole of rage, you
Oh,
don't
black
have
hole of rage.
you don't have much time for crying,
We ain't crying.
We got rage.
There's no
disperse.
crying in Spaceball.
But like, I feel like maybe he definitely was close to it at the end. I mean, he probably will here soon. Just like, I mean, he thought this was family as well, which is why he was feels betrayed. I think that, I mean, it definitely, Bell does need that and like a hard reset. But I feel like, there wasn't a point until where we're leading up to that made sense.
During the course of the campaign, there was this knowledge for elven technology because it was leading to something that might be dangerous for the world. Bell had this protective stance on anything elven. But you grew up on a planet that was, I wouldn't say desolate, but was westernized, and you knew little about what your past really was, just told that this gun is, you're supposed to hold on to it and it'll guide you to the path, and for basically your entire life that meant nothing until recently, the adventures with the Midnight Riders. Why did Bell feel that need to step in and protect that stuff, although it was something he never really knew himself?
Well, if you read my backstory, DM, the
Finds blank piece of paper.
the idea is that the gun is more, it's a line of people who protected this secret. Right. It's like a national treasure when the grandpa's like, I got this last clue.
Don't know where it goes. But
Don't know where it goes.
One of our
But
ancestors
it is the only way out. Like, on one hand, I feel like Bell partly feels like this has to be my purpose, or else I'm gonna die here on this planet, probably the same way Mom went. On another hand, he was raised, and this was the only thing that gave him hope. And so he wanted to be the thing that, like, the stories we're telling about, like the people who held this gun. There's a history of them guarding this secret through this lineage, like from, you know. And so I feel like the first chance he got to see that, oh my gosh, our race isn't extinct. Our culture can be taken back. Like, we can take what was taken from us. We can carve off a piece for ourselves. He really clung to that because it was part of his own inside thoughts of like, oh, really, I am this person. Oh, the hope I felt was worth it, and like it got me here. So he wants to be that person. For that reason, he feels like it's the only way forward.
Were there any specific moments of conflict or camaraderie that significantly influenced your relationships with one another?
I think that David had a couple of good points where, like, Miala and Shaylin, they shared more, like, subtle actions. Like, the times when Miala would shoot the person that was attacking Shaylin. Or at one point, Shaylin went down and she was like, I could just leave him.
Yeah.
And then she went back and she picked him up.
When Miala died, and Belle used the only thing they found from the Elven Vault, the one-use item of, like, I don't know. It felt very important to him because it was the first thing they found that was like, oh, we're on the right track for Elven stuff. And he felt like, I would rather have Miala than this thing.
Yeah, that was big. That was a big moment.
Yeah.
Mostly because I forgot you even had the item. And I was like, oh shit, we got a character death. I'm like, man, he's gonna have to make a new character. And then you said, and you didn't even skip a beat. You went over there and you were like, I pull out the medallion. I'm like,
what?
And he says, I crack it over her. And I'm like, what the fuck did he just say? And then he put it in the chat and I was like, oh, fuck. I'm like, okay, we get a cool death scene. This is going to be fun. Oh, man. Yeah, that was big. But you're right. It does later on, sort of afterwards, seeing it, is it's like it was the one of, if not the only thing found out of the vault that was, picked clean by the other group, which Lacey was a part of, picked clean of everything. But you guys somehow found a secret room that held that medallion. It was the only thing really tangible of that time that you got.
And Hunter tried to kill us.
Yeah. And in the moment when it was literally life or death, you chose to get rid of it to save Miala. That's big.
Yeah.
It's gone. You do that and it was gone. It just disappeared. There was no getting it back.
Finding a camping stick.
Oh, the camping sticks!
Yeah,
a camping stick!
That was a good group dynamic.
I feel like we had a lot of those, like, this campaign, yeah, well, it offered a lot of opportunity for us to be like, okay, we're at this shitty diner, or we're camping, or we have to be at this gas station refueling the ship. And we just had these, like, good interpersonal moments.
Like human moments.
Yeah, just real, like, average, dumb things you would do as a group of real people.
Right? Like everybody ordering all 3 entrees at a wedding.
Like, yeah, we're at this event we know is gonna get raided by the cops, and
we all completely forgot.
But also, like, we knew some shit was gonna go down. And we're just like, can I have 3 entrees, please? And like the waiter moment where I just walked up to people with the waiter I loved that. That was so funny. We had a lot of good bits.
Oh yeah, the fucking pranks.
How did the events of the campaign shape your character's view of the universe and their place in it?
It's kind of small.
Yeah.
For you especially.
It's kind of small universe.
Yeah, Shaylin really didn't have a big enough picture on that until he learned that the cult's trying to summon this thing that eats worlds, and he's like, oh, there are big things out there, like bigger than we've seen.
Damn. Okay. Anyone else?
I think Race realizes it's a whole galaxy of opportunity now. Now he's not under anybody's thumb anymore. So even though there's a lot of, loose threads that could come back, he's facing it, in a lot braver way.
Somehow
than he
the
would have.
machetes returned.
How has playing this character and participating in this campaign influenced you personally?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Like I said before, this was my introduction to TTRPG as a whole. And I think that in the beginning, I just wanted to play with my friends because I had moved. And the more that we played, the more I wanted to learn, and I started listening to campaigns more, and then I started watching campaigns more, and then I started really getting into it. So I think that I have a different outlook on D&D and Starfinder as a whole now. And I think it's really cool, and I think that it is really great storytelling and a great way for us to hang out when I live so far now.
So there's a few times in this campaign where we talked ourselves into bad situations, and I had to turn around and talk our way out of those bad situations. So I think I developed a little bit of and this is hurting me to say, but lawful personality and taking on a leadership role. And having to, be the one to eat crow for the benefit of the party a few times, so that we could progress the story. And that's, anybody that's played with me, I'm sure Carter can attest, I usually live in chaotic bliss at my own little corner of the table. So I feel like as a player, this has, got me out of sort of my normal chaotic comfort zone.
So this is the first ever campaign I have completed as a player.
Oh!
Ever. I'm
Very cool.
36 years old. Ever.
You're old. You're a damn dinosaur.
That sounds a lot like D&D right there, David.
We're the lucky few.
As a player, by finally being able to complete one, and as a DM that has never finished one and is currently not played in 3 weeks, although that's due to unforeseen circumstances, because who could have seen Cornell doing that?
Nice save.
Philly Gooses. That's what I heard.
Just seeing how fun you made it, and all the cool shit and the time that you put into it, I want to finish my game.
Yeah, this is it, guys, and I hope you guys are excited about the next campaign. I obviously always have long bullcrap mushy stuff to say, but I'm really happy that we played Starfinder. I'm really happy about all the decisions you guys made. I'm really happy about the campaign itself. I'm happy that we finished that campaign. And I'm even more excited and more happy that we are beginning another campaign and another leg of our journey together in this world, where we're all just trying to make it. A little callback, Older and Dumber. But I enjoy each and every one of you's company. I love each one of you guys. And I can't wait for us to embark on the next journey.
I'm excited.
Yay!
Internet, that is the end of the Fireside Chat wrap-up of our Starfinder campaign. Obviously, there was a bunch of this that you may not have even known about or understood. But
And you never will!
But
Got him.
just, experiencing the conversation with us has given you a little bit of insight into how we do our storytelling.
Get you ready for our next campaign.
That's
And get
gonna
you
be
ready for the next
completely
campaign.
different and not at all related.